like to call this meeting to order and ask that our district clerk leads us in the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America
and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome. May I have a motion, please, that the agenda of August 27th, 2013 be approved as submitted?
So moved. Second.
Questions or comments? Thank you. All those in favor? 5 in favor, none opposed. Approval of the consent agenda. May I have a motion, please, that the Board of Education approve the consent agenda as submitted?
So moved.
Second.
Questions or comments?
I'm just reading it.
All right. All those in favor? 5 in favor, none opposed. Thank you. We have no special reports this evening, and we do not have anyone who wishes to address the board. And our student representative is not here yet, but she will be here at our next meeting. So we move on to superintendent's report. Dr. Grimm.
Okay, thank you. We have a brief staffing report that indicates the total number of staff that we had budgeted and the actual number that we've hired. Some things have changed as enrollments have come into the schools, specifically really in the elementary schools, where we may have 3 sections of a certain grade. Actually, one of the actual cases was at Indian Landing in kindergarten. We had 64 students, and then 65 and 66 with 3 sections. So then it was, that's 22. It was below our projections. And then we ended up getting another one. So we ended up having another teacher. So that fluctuates up and down. And right now, this is where we are in all of the different areas compared to what we had budgeted. So we still have a balance of 0.1 positions. The actual funds will be different because depending on the type of position, it costs more for a teacher than it does for a teaching assistant, things like that. But I wanted Patty, our Assistant Superintendent for Personnel, to comment on this as she sees fit. Her office has been doing an amazing job this summer, even shorthanded. We got some help from the buildings to be able to put together the interviews that started back, I think, in May for all the different teaching positions. And at some point yesterday, we were fully staffed. We had everybody. We knew it wouldn't last for long, but it felt good, and it was outstanding with her leadership in that office to be able to make that happen. And it was a collaborative process, too. We're not just having one person interview and hire people. We have to pull everybody together, and there's criteria, and that's one of the most important things we can do is hire great people. So Patty has done that, and I don't know if you have any other comments, Patty.
No, Steve's exactly right. There was a very busy summer, and I commend my staff for their hard work. We're fully hired instructionally, knock on wood. There's a TA to be filled yet and some clerical positions, but instructionally, the kids can come now. We were a little concerned because we were getting close to the wire, but that's completed. When you saw this chart last, we still had a 0.1 balance, but what the difference is, we thought we were going to add 2 additional TAs. We only ended up adding 1. So the other one was taken up by the 2 sections that were put in last week, as Steve indicated. It was a Harris Hill position and Indian Landing. Indian Landing was budgeted 21. We had only filled 20. It was actually Scribner and Harris Hill that are over by 1 section from what we budgeted. But I believe we're in good shape. Do you have any questions about this chart? If I can explain it, Camille?
I think you've talked about it in the past, but just for people looking at that for the first time with down 1 science teacher, can you just talk about whether or not that means that there are sections that are larger or we lost a certain course or what that means?
We had a retirement that we didn't need to refill, so there's probably a slight increase in some of the electives. but we were able to absorb one, which gave us the additional unallocated, making, the 4 that we had to start the year.
And so in other words, all the same courses that were offered last year still offered this year. Great.
Yes.
Thanks.
Yes, and I actually met the teacher that we hired, and she was a former student and was in Mr. West's class as well. And so it's kind of neat to have her back. She taught another school district for a year, and now she's here. So she was walking down the hall in the alma mater, and it's like the dream come true. Dual certified, and just a wonderful person.
Excellent. Any other questions or comments? Thank you, Patty.
Okay, moving on. The bulk of tonight's reports really have to do with capital projects. We've got some capital projects going on currently, and we have others that are in the development phase. So we wanted to go back to the capital work that's in process. We have the Scribner entrance and Bay Trail transformer and the Scribner roof and Bay Trail gym. Those projects are in process right now. The Scribner entrance improvements will improve student safety, and the transformer and switchgear repair will help us make sure that we've got the right equipment infrastructure. So that was approved in May of 2012. Those will be executed or implemented next year. So it's been some time, but that type of work was not going to get done this past summer. It would have been happening this fall, and we didn't want to have that. It's currently, from that decision, we're currently at SED for the approval, and we think we'll get that approval soon, which means we can get some bids in September, which is a nice time for that, and we'll schedule that work to begin in 2014. Summer work will require a shutdown at Scribner and Bay Trail, so that'll be difficult. You can see why we wouldn't be able to do that when school is in session. And then we also have the project that was approved this past spring at the election and budget vote, a roof replacement and repair, and then the Bay Trail gym and locker rooms. All of those, that's something that was approved, and it's in the planning stages right now. We're finalizing the design documents, and we think we're going to get the submission to SED for approval. We want to get approval by March, and we'll get the bidding in the spring and construction in the summer. Takes quite a while for SED approval, especially when it has to do with mechanical and electrical and complicated things like that. It's a longer wait time. So it's pretty proactive to be able to get the designs in at the end of the summer. But sometimes it's astonishing that it takes that long. Capital work in planning right now, security and athletics and PE. We've had some talk in the past about the athletics and PE. I think it might have been at the last meeting where we had some review of that. Security was something we were waiting for the vulnerability assessment to start to think about what implications that report has for what we might want to do within capital planning related to security. So with security projects, we had an audit and we received it. It was a site assessment of all the buildings, and it was a review of not only just the buildings, but the practices and the documents that we use, emergency management, and potential capital items are under review right now. Potential scope items in the security project are some cameras and lighting improvements, emergency generators at Cobbles and Bay Trail, PA systems upgrades, entryway security improvements at the high school, Indian Landing and Cobbles, and intrusion detection improvements and various door and hardware upgrades. So that's the security aspect of this next capital project that is in study. The athletics and PE facilities improvement project. We've had some of this information in the past. During the superintendent's entry conversations, some of these items came up. It was included in the long-range plan. We're still investigating many aspects of it. The advisory team is gathering information with the costs and benefits. Lighting and traffic studies, the field use policy is also in draft stage. We had the advisory team, and the purpose of that was to coordinate the gathering and development of all the information necessary for public input and the Board of Education decision-making. So far, what we have as outputs are the draft field use report, the draft conceptual design, the traffic impact study, the lighting impact and spillage study, and the seeker requirements. And those documents are online. These are all the members that are on that team. We have district staff and a number of consultants as well. So the preliminary conceptual design has to do with renovations in the East Gym. And what's new now is we have an idea of the financial parameters. We've got approximately $1.3 million in the East Gym renovations. We've got the storage addition, the energy efficient lighting, the poured rubber floor, wall pads, basketball backboards, and to replace the 1972 rooftop air handler. Hopefully we can get another 41 years out of the next one. Field lighting is another item. We're estimating that at approximately $1.5 million. Lighting at the synthetic turf field and at the track and soccer field, and pathway lights from the community center. So it's quite a comprehensive lighting system for 2 full fields and pathways. So on the website, we have the field use plan. So if you have lights on a field, well, what are the parameters by which someone could use the field? You have to have that figured out ahead of time. So we've got a draft policy there. And also for casual community use of the track. Some people might say, well, we've got lights. Can they stay on a little later at night so we can walk around the track, especially in the wintertime? So we're looking at those things. And we have a traffic study looking at a major athletic event 4 to 8 times per year. What impact would that have on traffic? And the draft field lighting study itself, which has several options for consideration and lighting range for each of those options. So this doesn't do much good in this venue because you can't really read those numbers. But this is the East Gym, and that's the main area. And over here, and this is a document that will be available for people to look at, it's more descriptive about where those items are going to happen. There's the wall pads, there's the backboards. It's just it's a snapshot of what we're going to be submitting. And there's I think the picture of the floor. East Gym renovations. So that slide, all of those things are on that drawing. So it gives you an idea of what that looks like. And then this is a lighting document that shows where the light will go. It's called spillage. We talk about how the light will spill, how far will it spill away from the field, and where is the edge of darkness. Is that what that was called, Vic? We had some fun with that term. Where's the edge of darkness? And so that shows the synthetic turf field and then the grass field, and it would show the items where the particular poles are and how that, when it's fully lit, where that spillage goes. So then we can analyze where and whether or not there's impact on neighboring communities, houses and things like that. So that's a level of detail. So here are some key dates. We've got some that have already happened. July 11th board meeting, we reviewed the information from consultants and we declared the intent to be the lead agency. And then in July and August, we've been having the studies complete and we're gathering additional information, developing informational materials. Tonight is August 27th. And that's where we're going to, later in the meeting tonight, we're going to be able to declare lead agency status. We didn't have anybody else that was interested in being the lead agency. And on September 19th, and we've got another board meeting on September 10th, but we're not planning to have much information about this at that board meeting. Key dates now, September 19th, public information meeting right here, or actually it's in the PHS Commons, and it's another room in the high school at 7 p.m. where we'll be able to talk about the information that we've got and be able to hear some input from neighbors, collect questions, things like that. As we were looking at that, we thought, well, once we get that, then what? What are we going to do with questions? There's going to be follow-up work. We're going to use the September 24th meeting to debrief the board. Here's what happened Thursday night. Many of you probably will be there anyway, but it'll be a nice opportunity to publicize that as well. On October 8th, we'll have some more follow-up on public comments. That'll give some time to get some answers back. And then we want to have a second public informational meeting on October 15th. I think as a public, we found that successful during the budget process where we had the one, but when you have that second one, it's a nice way to ensure complete understanding, especially from the perspective of the board trying to represent the public's interests. And I think that, okay, and then a potential schedule moving forward would be at the October 22nd board meeting, finalizing that scope. So we know these are the things we want to include. November 5th, we could make the seeker determination. That's the environmental quality review. And then on December 10th is the date where we would need to schedule a special election. Call it an election, that's the legal terminology. It's the vote for a capital project. It's called an election. And that would occur at some point in February, we were looking at. So in order to do that, the board has to declare that there will be a special election. That is occur in December. And I've got Vic Tomaselli from SEI Design, our architect firm. And I don't know, Vic, if you have any other comments. You're here as a resource, but if you do have some comments, that would be fine. You might want to, as we're in the microphone there, that'd be great.
Good evening. I'm Vic Tomaselli with SEI Design Group. Just a couple of other items. We're going back to the projects that are underway now. We've recently received SCD approval on the Scribner entrance and Bay Trail transformer. So that actually is in the works. We're planning to go out to bid September 19th, I believe it is, but within the next 2 to 3 weeks, we'll have the documents on the streets. Contractors will start looking at them, coming back, submitting their bids, and we'll be back in front of the board at some point in the months to come with a recommendation to award contracts. So that's moving forward. As Steve said, we're working on the current project, which the Scribner roof and Bay Trail athletics and the gym improvements. That is going into the state again within the next couple of weeks. We're targeting August 30th. It might be give or take a few days, but we're well underway with that project as well. I think the rest of it has just been moving forward very well. I think everyone, the district and the design team and the consultants and Ed Primo, the district's attorney, and the seeker have been working on this pretty diligently over the last several months. So it's been going along well, and things seem to be falling into place.
Thank you. Board members, do you have any questions or comments at this time? Camilla?
I just wanted to ask about the, for a few years, the Scribner entrance it's on the side and it's going to stay on the side. So one of the purposes of redoing that entryway was primarily security, so that they have a better control over who's coming into the building. But also, they're going to make it so it's more obvious that it's that's the main entrance. But it's weird because it's still on the side. Is anything being done to the front where it looks like it should be the main entrance, or is that staying the same?
The front is staying the same, but the entrance does project further. It sticks out from the building. So it will be more visible. It's still from certain directions. You're not going to see it until your line of sight passes the corner of the building. But it should be pretty obvious.
It's better now too, maybe because the buses are in front,
Right.
so it looks a little
Right.
okay.
Right.
So it'll look more like the Bay Trail one, maybe with like
Yep.
an arch over it or something.
Yeah, I didn't bring those documents with me, but there is an arched entryway. It's opposite of Bay Trail, though, where it's giving more visibility to the road. So you're not seeing the edge of the roof. You're going to see part of the curve. So I think we had presented that, and it
Yeah,
was
we
probably
saw
a
it.
year ago or more. It's been at SED for quite some time, and so it's been a while, but I didn't bring those documents
That's
with me.
okay, yeah, we've seen it, okay, thanks.
The other thing I just wanted to point out with the Scribner and Bay Trail Transformer, part of the reason it worked out beneficial that SED took so long was that the lead time on some of the equipment is, 4 to 6 months on the electrical switchgear and transformer. And it wouldn't have, we didn't have approval in time to get work done this past summer, but the way it's working out with bidding, receipt of bids, and award of contract, we'll have the winter months to award contracts for contractors to order materials and have everything here, on the ground when school's out next summer. So it actually worked out for the better.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments? Yes,
I
Camille.
want to take advantage since Vic's here. I wanted to ask about the lights. I remember that when the project originally went in, that we have footers in place. Can you talk a little bit about what work already has been done so that it makes the possibility of adding lights a little more seamless? And were footers put in around the football area as well as the track and soccer? And is there a cost savings because we already did some of the work?
I actually believe that the conduit has been run from the building out to the fields in order to support the electrical needs of the pole lights. I don't believe any wire was pulled or anything done for the service for those lights. I'm not sure that the footers are in. I don't believe they are.
Okay.
I think that because the design of the lighting wasn't done in the last project, and the exact location of the poles and the size of the poles, and I don't believe footing work was done, but I do know that the underground conduit has been in place and it is there.
So it would be slightly less disruptive to
Absolutely.
install? It's more of an
Absolutely.
installation versus
Right.
having to shut it down for a long period of time? and that
Absolutely.
kind of thing.
Think about it from the building out to the fields, and if you'd have to trench and run conduit and then pull the wire through the conduit, it would be a whole lot larger disruption to the grounds and to the areas around the fields. So the route is there, for the wiring, and that was a huge, great decision that was made many years ago.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments?
I'm
Can
sorry, then if no one else, can I go? Okay. In addition to the one-time cost that we saw just tonight, there's also, and I don't know if this is something that you would get us, or Mark had talked about getting information like from Fairport or Webster or Pittsford, other places that already have lights, because I'm wondering too if we can add to that the ongoing cost that would be probably absorbed by the district on an annual basis, where you have the one-time thing, and that might be a bond or something like that. But then each time we have which I think the lights would be used on a daily basis, but for events, there's this staffing and the extra security and sometimes the parking, I think, was on the list, replacing the light bulbs, running the electricity, just sort of the daily cost, again, that would be absorbed, that we need to be prepared to pay for on an ongoing basis, not just the installation cost.
Yeah, that's a good point. Sometimes it's referred to as O&M, like operations and maintenance.
Thank you, I didn't know that.
Yeah, and then, where is that going to be in the budget? How much is it?
And then,
That's a
because
very good
when you have
question.
outside groups that want to use it, you'd want to have a feel for, well, what, just like same thing with the auditorium, it's expensive for an outside group to rent it because it's an expense, and we're able to pass it on to an outside organization, so it's good to have a
good
handle
analogy.
on that.
The auditorium, very similar.
So
I believe in this document, which I believe you've seen before, but the short environmental assessment form, there was a light tab for the lighting study, and the engineers did give some ideas on the operating cost of the field lights on a per-hour basis. So, I don't think we've gone through the exercise of multiplying out how many hours, and how many events, but there is some background information in this document already on the operating cost of the lights.
You're right, and I flagged that on the page, but I would have no way of knowing.
Right.
So it's,
Right.
but I don't know if you can have it done by the September one, but, and Mark may able, like I said, he may be able to get ballpark estimates from other districts. It's not like we have to do a whole nother study on it or anything.
That's a good bit of proactive information to have ready for September 19th.
Okay, thank you. Camille, Barb?
Along with your wonderful analysis there was one thing that I remember picking up on the traffic study, that having the events later at night and under the lights was going to free up 5 Mile Line Road, and I think that that's something that needs to be brought up, that it really would impact that, because as of right now, most afternoon events are getting out at the same time that people are coming home from work, so I know that that was a congestion area, and that was an interesting piece that was brought up.
That is correct, and I think the other thing, that was made clear was that it really isn't an increase in traffic. It's really just because the events are happening already. It's just the time of when they are, whether it's a particular day of the week or an hour of the day that does shift. So that was an important finding too.
Plus, we now have a left-hand turn at the Four Corners, so that's woot woot, right?
Any other questions and comments? Thank you. If
I make two more quick comments. I'm
I
sorry.
have a few questions too.
Steve mentioned the vulnerability study and the security work and the work that we're evaluating. We have met several times to develop a scope of work. We are in the process of putting some estimated numbers on that particular scope of work. Still pretty early, but again, in the next month, we'll have some updated information to you on those costs as well. And then secondly, the numbers that we've brought forward for the athletics and field lighting project, I don't expect that they'll change much, but I just want to point out there might be a little bit of flux in those numbers. It includes things like recaulking or doing the joints on the panels on the exterior of the East Gym. That caulking material is asbestos containing or PCB containing material. I'm not sure we have the hazardous material removal process cost in there yet, but again, I don't think the numbers are going to fluctuate greatly, but I just want to point out that the next time you might see some mildly different numbers.
Thank you. Can I have a clarification regarding the Bay Trail transformer? There is no safety issues with it right now for the building or the people in the building. It's just that it needs to be addressed and it does not meet code, correct?
Correct.
Okay,
Correct.
just, if people are watching this at home, I don't want them to panic that something
Right.
is going on. Okay, all right. And in addition to the cost you will be looking at, Dr. Grimm, can we kind of have an idea also of what supervision will be like at those events? Because that's something that we'll need to take into consideration. We're always absorbing more and more supervision, with all the events that we are, having in the school district. So will there be more that we will be looking at?
Good. Yep, very good. We should have that summarized for that September 19th, because I know we've ballparked some of that. We've got plans for that, and that's another good point, because labor tends to be one of our higher expenses anyway.
Okay.
Good.
All right, thank you. And just for the benefit of the public, this is a reminder that no decision has been made. We are still in the study phases. So please, by all means, if you have any opinion, you want to educate yourself about the project, join us on September 19th, was it?
Yes.
on September 19th for the first public information meeting, and I believe we have documents on the website. Contact, Dr. Grimm or, Nancy Bradstreet if you want more information. We're still studying the project, and there will be a second public information meeting on October 15th also. Right. Is that it?
That's it. Great.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. I guess that's it for superintendent's reports. Board member, we are on page 2 of your agenda, board business. The seeker resolution for the Athletic and Physical Education Facilities Improvement Project. In the past, the State Education Department acted as lead agency for school construction projects. However, the state has shifted this responsibility to the local district. Therefore, the Penfield Board of Education has notified interested agencies of its intent to serve as lead agency for the 2014 Athletic and Physical Education Facilities Improvement Project. The following resolution establishes the district as lead agency as well as sets the date for a public information meeting. And I read the resolution for you. Whereas the Penfield Central School District, known as the district, and its Board of Education, the board, having indicated its intent to act as secret lead agency for the 2014 Athletic and Physical Education Facilities Improvement Project, and having so advised other involved agencies by letters dated July 12, 2013, whereas no other involved agency has objected to the board acting as secret lead agency, now therefore be it resolved that the board is hereby established as the secret lead agency for the project. The Board of Education will hold a public information meeting on the project to describe the project and receive public comments on any environmental concerns on September 19th, 2013 at 7 p.m. at the Penfield Commons, Penfield High School, 25 High School Drive, Penfield, New York, 14526. May I have a motion, please, that this resolution be approved?
So moved. Second.
Questions or comments? Thank you. All those in favor? 5 in favor, none opposed. Thank you. We have no financial item this evening. We are retiring a policy and replacing it with another one that we have approved at a previous meeting. So may I have a motion, please, that policy 7300, Code of Conduct and Regulation 7300 R1 be retired, and the District Code of Conduct and Code of Conduct on School Property Policy 3410 take its place.
So moved. Second.
Questions or comments? Thank you. All those in favor? 5 in favor, none opposed. Thank you. A revised policy guideline was in your packet for your information also, and because this is guideline and regulation is not voted on by the board. Approval of APPR. May I have a motion, please, that the Board of Education, upon the recommendation of the superintendent, readopts both the principal and teacher annual professional performance review plans as per the plans that are posted on the district's website.
So moved. Second.
Any questions or comments? Thank you. All those in favor? 5 in favor, none opposed. Thank you. President's remarks or presentations, just one. I had the pleasure this morning of being here to welcome a great group of brand new teachers, and they are just so wonderful. And it was very exciting, 7:30 in the morning, to see all of them smiling, getting ready with all the administrators there, and it was just, a very nice start of the day. So thank you, Patty, for your office, for all of you've done over the summer and all the hard work. It was very nice to see everyone this morning. Unfinished business. We have a retreat date that we've been trying to decide forever and ever. We now have 3 dates per Dr. Grimm's weekend notes to us. We have September 30th, October 29th, and November 12th. I would like to recommend that at this time you keep all 3 dates on your calendar, because those retreats are replacing one whole day that we originally wanted to have, but then ended up not having because of all the changes that we had in our calendars. And we're always looking for workshop dates, so better have them on the calendar and then decide not to hold one of them, then go through another exercise of, okay, let's find another common date. So is that okay with everyone? What do you all think?
Yeah.
September 30th, October 29th, and November 12th. Per Dr. Grimm's email, this seems to work the best for all three, for, all of us.
Do you have times in mind? Or you just want to?
It's whatever was on the doodle, I think.
Yeah, I think we were looking at 5 to 9.
5 to 9, yeah. Is that okay with everybody? All right, thank you. And for new business, we've all received an email from John Piper, our legislative representatives, regarding 3 priorities for the legislative committee. They're looking at their priorities for the year. And if you are feeling one way or another about something, please get back to John before Labor Day so that he can get back to the legislative committee about this. And that's it, I guess. And since we have no new business, may I have a motion, please, that the meeting be adjourned at 8:05?
Second.
Questions or comments? Thank you. All those in favor? 5 in favor, none opposed. Thank you.